Hey Grains, before we begin, I wanted to say a huge thank you for the amount of support I've been getting for my previous video. With that said, Instagram crafts and DIYs, they always look so amazing, but in execution, I may or may not have failed a couple of times. Oh my god, I am so worried. I don't want to turn it around anymore, I'm so scared. 3, 2, 1. Oh, that is gross. And so why am I doing this again?
Because I'm a sucker for punishment!
And so in today's video, I will be trying 3 different Instagram crafts, mostly with polymer clay and resin, which is my domain. Will I fail? Most probably. The first one we're going to be doing is a gorgeous butterfly colorful wing, which I'm pretty skeptical about, but we'll see. The second one is a realistic apple. I suck so bad. Oh, so bad at making realistic things, so let's take this journey together because I'm starting to lose my confidence. And then the third one is going to be a mystery because again, it'll depend on my self-confidence and self-esteem. If I've been failing this whole time, I'm gonna try and take something easier because I want to feel good today. So let's jump right into it and try out the butterfly wing. And this video is by Tukulo or Tukalot or I'm not sure. The idea is we're taking paper, tracing the butterfly wing out of it, and then sanding it down. That's going to help the resin pretty much adhere to it. They don't give instructions, but I know my stuff. And the interesting thing, wow, English #1. Fun fact about me is I never used shrink plastic before, so this is going to be my first time. I really do love this technique. Wow, still English #1. The thing I really like about this technique is it really has this really gorgeous feel and transparency to it. So this is my first time using shrink plastic, and it was my brother who got this for me. He found it at the dollar store and he's like, I think Jackie gonna like this. So he got it for me. Thank you, brother. Have you Grains ever used shrink plastic before? Because I'm nervous. It says that it shrinks about 50%, but every time I see videos online, it always looks like it's shrinking way more than that. But what do I know? I'm just a grain. Hopefully, if this technique works, I'm going to be using these butterfly wings and other different kinds of gorgeous colorful wings on future sculptures. So let's cross our fingers. Wait, if you put it again in the oven, it's going to shrink more. Alright, so I printed this butterfly design because I want to make 2. I feel like 2 is a good number for future usages. If it doesn't work, don't start saying, but Jackie, you're doing it wrong. Because the answer is no. They don't give enough instructions. All right, so let's trace these 2 wings. So this part is pretty simple. The only thing I'm doing is cutting it out of the sheet of paper. And because I like to save paper, I decided to place them really close to each other just so that we can save space and that I can use the shrink plastic for future projects. It does say to use a permanent marker, so that's what I'm using. Alright, so now what we need to do is just sand it down so that we can get a little bit more, a little more texture. They really look like they went, oh, that is unpleasant sound. Why am I interrupting myself? I'm removing the sound for you, Grains. Alright, so here it is all scratched up. I'm going to scratch the other one, and then I'm going to head straight to the oven and watch it shrink 50% in like 10 seconds. You may or may not hear me in the background. I know it's not a Salty Crafter video today, but at first I was pretty impressed because the pieces started shrinking. Even though the instructions said 10 seconds, I waited there for 4 minutes before anything started to curl up. And this is what I got. So it looks like the dollar store shrink plastic, or maybe I'm doing it wrong, I don't know, but I followed the instructions. So this, for me,
In the trash!
Mama didn't raise no fool. I am not falling for that shrink plastic, shrink-a-dink-dinky-doo. Dinky-dinky-doo. I think the whole point of the shrink plastic thing is to make sure that you can use it as jewelry, but since we're going to be using it as a sculpture, I'm just going to trace it and keep it the exact same size. We might be salty, but we're also smart. I'm really starting to understand why this shrink plastic...
Good, I am so salty right now.
I was like,
Today, I'm going to be doing a craft video. We're going to have fun and create things.
But the salt is rising! I'm just cutting these things and they just start bending and start cracking in all these different places that I'm not... Look at that. Alright, so I'm going to be putting our resin in blue, green, and pink. My only worry is that resin does get hot. So is the plastic going to buckle? See, I knew that the third piece and project that I'm supposed to do is going to have to be something easy because I'm scared now. I started with so much confidence, but now I'm scared. See, I knew this project was a little too good to be true because you can see that the resin is starting to creep its way to the edge. Oh, the salt. The salt wants to come out and play.
Come on, little buddy.
So I have to be very careful. If I start putting more resin, what might end up happening is it'll just start leaking. So part of me might have to start hardening, putting hardening, which is very annoying. See, I knew too lot was a little too good to be true. More like too little, not too lot, am I right? Okay, I'll stop. Those of you who are naysayers and saying, but
Jackie, you're doing it wrong.
the answer's no. Still no. See, even though they actually shrank the plastic, the more heat you put on plastic, the more it's going to actually warp. I don't make the rules. That's just how plastic works. So as you can see here, it's starting to also warp. I called it. I totally called it. Let's just keep going and see what we get. Yeah. No. Just no. So in all theory, even though we did sand this piece, it's still coming off. It's still buckling. It's still not working. And even if we did shrink it, I have a feeling that it still would have warped somehow. So I'm very skeptical. I mean, look over here. It's starting to burn holes. So this Instagram craft and this Instagram tutorial, I would rate it
In the trash.
Oh, that totally fell on the floor. Still.
In the trash.
My advice, if you want to make something this pretty, just use a piece of clay as your base instead of plastic. Plastic is going to react to heat, and resin heats up. This next Instagram craft comes from Strawberry Puff Cake. And the idea behind this one is how to make a realistic miniature apple. I am one of the worst people ever when it comes to making realistic things, and that's why I really want to give it a try. At least the good thing about this kind of tutorial is that it doesn't have anything to do with the particular materials, but it has a lot to do with skills, which I'm missing. So we're pretty much just taking polymer clay and adding all these different chalk pastels. It does say in the description box below that she did bake the apple for only 5 minutes. So it should make it a little harder on the outside. It looks so good. And then when she chops it, it's still kind of baked. I'm really wondering if the kind of clay makes a difference, but as always, I usually use Sculpey clay, so we're going to give it a go. I'm really worried because this looks absolutely fantastic. I'm only going to make the outside and then half it. I'm not going to try to make it and cut it in 4. That's way too advanced for me. So for the sake, don't worry, it's not X-Acto, it's not sharp. So the first thing we're supposed to do is make a round and then push this tool. I'm making the apple bigger than what she's making it simply because I want you grains to see it better on camera. So let's cross our fingers and hope we can get something. Oh, that is a bad start. Okay, that seems pretty good enough. And now, yeah, this is sharp. Be careful now. I don't know what I think about this, but it's too early.
Don't judge.
Don't judge too soon. Off it goes into the oven, and then afterwards we can do the chalk pastels. So I'm gonna prep the chalk pastels because there seems to be so many colors. So let's go, little apple-san. Ringo-san. That is the name. So here are my chalk pastel colors, and as we can see, we see 3 different kinds of yellows, 2 different kinds of reds, 3 different greens, and then there's miscellaneous colors that I have no idea what it's for. All right, let's shave these colors off. Okay, so we're taking greens and putting it as the first base layer. And she did say that she was wetting her brush in order to get the colors out. Oh my god, why am I so scared? So far so good. This is easy, and if you don't know how to do it, then you're not as skilled as I am. Okay, so that apple that they made has a really pretty shape. And here's mine. Here's theirs again. Here's mine. My apple identifies as an orange. It can be whatever it wants. I'm actually surprised that the base of green stayed on, but now we need to put a base of red. That is going to be interesting because I never really layered chalk pastels, so I'm not sure how it's going to behave. All right, red little buddy, let's be friends today. Oh! I think I may have put too much water. It's okay, we're layering, so this is the first layer. This looks really cool. Layer 1. And here it is after the third coat of red. I am honestly really surprised. I didn't think it would be this easy. And the fact that the colors are uneven like a real apple, I have to say it's given me quite a bit of confidence. So thank you, Strawberry Puff Cake. I'm sorry I doubted you. Okay, so we're supposed to kind of poke it to give it little white dots and then cut it down in half. Okay, so it's just little pokes. So far, so good. All right, so now we're supposed to cut it in half, and my only worry is that it's quite possible the second half is going to be trash, because let's look at the clip again where it's cut in half. Is that this half over here looks pretty good, and then this one kind of looks jagged and broken, so nothing's perfect. So let's give it a try. I am so scared right now. Wish me luck. It was only baked for 5 minutes, exactly like she said, okay? I'm following instructions. I am so nervous. I mean, good. Please don't break. Oh! Yeah, that was not successful. Why does it look like a potato? I'm gonna clean it. Look, it's exactly like in the picture, okay? Don't judge me! Let's fix it. It looks good on the outside. So, yeah, my apple has a little more character than hers, but character is what gets you far in life. Salty wisdom. Okay, so we have our middle here, I believe. I may have gone too far. All right, so I'm gonna be adding my seeds, and I know it's not perfect, but hey, I'm working with what I'm dealt with. I feel like putting it in the freezer may have been a better idea than putting it in the oven. That's just me though. What do I know? It's not like I've done 6 years of clay. It really does feel like a potato on the inside. I think the baking part was probably not a good idea because it's just not smooth. I don't see any other way, and this is a really sharp blade. Why'd I lose focus? And now the inside is with greens and yellows, kind of like so. I am pretty sure, like I am so convinced right now that it would have been a way better idea to shove this in the freezer because now it's just now it just has, wow. Now it just has all these weird textures on the inside. This is the atrocity that is the inside. I mean, look at it. You're like, pretty cool half apple. It was a losing battle before we started. And so here's my apple. I am pretty happy. I really am happy with the outside, but the inside itself was... So I feel like if I did this, I would definitely not use the baking method. I would try my own method of freezing. And now for the last one, I want to try my Elves box and follow one of the tutorials on Sophie and Toffee's Instagram. For those of you who don't know, the Elves box is a subscription box of monthly craft supplies that is delivered straight to your door. I am not sponsored. I am not affiliated. If you want to check it out, you can check it out. I just received those from them and I love them. And this box is a Harry Potter themed one. And so since this is the premium box, I am getting extra materials, and this one is a silicone mold maker from Padico. And what I'm interested in, I really need to clean my room. I'm going straight into business, is the mold. Look at that. So we get 2 different molds to make wands with UV resin. So these are the ones I'm going to test out and try if I can make a wand in the method that they show on their Instagram. We also get a bronze pigment powder. And I dropped it. Pigment dyes in pearl, black, and white. A bunch of absolutely adorable glitters. These are some really cute shapes. We also get the instructional sheet of how to use the mold maker, a pen that we can make a tiny environment on the inside, and last but not least, we get Harry Potter themed charms and kind of like alchemy type circles. We get a scarf that you can do in your house's colors, a little snitch, that key thing in the first book where it's just flying around, a cauldron, and 4 different kinds of absolutely gorgeous circles. Now, I am not usually one to use them because I find that the crevices are really small, so you really need a toothpick to kind of get into those little nooks and crannies. Oh, and I forgot to mention they do give you a 25-gram bottle of resin. Alright, so let's take a look at the tutorial that they have for this wand. I am super excited to give it a try because I really want to try a technique where you can color resin without coloring the resin.
Jackie, you don't make sense.
Don't worry, you'll see exactly what I mean. So as you can see here, they're taking their powder and they're putting it all over the mold. That way when you have a base, the outside is going to be a different color. You can also probably add different colors in different places, which is what we're going to be trying. And then the inside of the base, we're going to make it purple instead of black. And the fun thing about these two-part molds, as you can see, is once you remove one half, you could just kind of stick it onto the other one. I feel like they may have put a little too much of the resin on the second half. You'll see that it is quite overflowed. It's possible maybe you can't control it as much, but I'm really glad that they do show this so that you know that if you do overflow, you could just sand and trim and it should be fine. So I'm going to use my Pearlex powders because I love color choices. So I'm going to go with Solar Gold, which looks like this, and a gorgeous purple. I don't know how much to put. It felt like they really went in there. So let's just go in there. Let's go to town and go crazy, kids. I've always been curious about this technique. Oh, wow, that is pretty. That is really pretty. If this gold is not making the salt in you become just a little bit of sugar, and something's wrong with you. I'm just kidding, you're fine. So I don't have any purple resin, so what I'm going to do is I prepared my clear resin and I'm going to put some purple pigment inside. And here we go. Oh, of course, I didn't open it. And let's see that gorgeous purple. Oh, yes. Is there an equivalent for colors like there is for holosexual? Is it like color sexual? I don't know. I love colors so much. All right, here we go. Let's try not to overfill them. Let's not make the same mistake. Worst case, we'll just have to sand it, but we don't want to get there, do we? All right, now we can remove one of them. So let's, oh, that came out pretty easy. Here's one half. Oh, that is not what I expected. I guess I leaked some of that purple, but that is really pretty. I feel like I may have done the opposite, which is not put enough resin because it's kind of inwards. So let's see what we could do. If you want the best results for this, you're going to have to hold it down because it keeps warping in either direction. So make sure that you hold it at least in 3 different spots. All right, moment of truth. I know, look at over here. I definitely messed up over here. But maybe it's my style. Maybe my wand goes like this at the end. It's a snake essence mouth wand. Let's go with that. Okay, so let's see. Ooh, that is pretty. You see, we still have a little bit of spillage over here, but that's easily remedied by taking your knife and just kind of scraping it off. And if there's too much of a gap like this, just put a little bit of resin in the middle. But I have to admit, this is really, really pretty. I still have a lot to learn when it comes to putting the Pearlex powders. And it's possible that, you know, there was just a little contamination. And now a question for you, Grains. Which tutorial do you like best? Whether it failed or I succeeded at doing it, which one do you like the most? Do you like the butterfly wing? I really want it to work, but for some reason, it just didn't. Or do you like our miniature realistic apple? I love the outside so much. And what about the technique of coloring your wand with Pearlex powders? It's pretty straightforward, but because it's powder, you're gonna get contamination. That's a fact. So let me know which one is your favorite in the description box below or in the iCard section. This week's shoutouts go to Melancholy Official, Love Nerdy and Salty, Spooky Lolly Art. Thank you so much for that sentiment. Again, thank you, Grains, so much for all the amazing words that you've left in my previous video. And Chasaki GF. Remember, if you want a shout out in my Friday videos, don't forget to hashtag Nerdification Squad in the comment section below within the first 5 hours of a video's release, or hashtag NerdECrafter on Instagram or Twitter anytime with any of your creations. If you want to watch my previous Instagram failures, make sure you check it out up here. And if you want to watch a video that YouTube thinks is specifically perfect for you, make sure you check it out down here. Until then, I will see you, Grains, in the next video.